cohabitation, which is the subject of one of my books.
Right, okay. This is the one, living together, myths,
yes,
risks, and answers. Okay.
One of the myths of living together is that women believe that if they move in with a guy, he'll see how wonderful she is and ask her to marry him. But the reason he's living with her is he doesn't want to make a commitment. He wants the sex, he wants the companionship, he wants the shared rent. When she finds out that he's not serious, she leaves. And so cohabitation is really a disaster for marriage. And yet 3/4 of Americans think it makes sense for people to live together before they marry. It actually increases the odds of divorce.
Right.
And those who marry after living together are more likely to divorce. We had 8.5 million people cohabiting last year in this country, up from about 400,000 in 1960.
Right.
Huge.
It's a huge increase. Yeah.
And of those 8.5 million people, only 1.2 or 1.3 million married. What happened to the other 7 million?
Yeah. Those are really...
broke up.
Yes.
And they are... And 39% of cohabiting couples have a child.
Yeah.
That's almost the same as the 40% of married couples who have a child in 5 years.
Yeah.
In brief, a child of divorce is 3 times more likely to drop out of school, to become pregnant as a teenager, 10 times more likely to be incarcerated than a child from an attacked home. It's the worst possible way to begin, except for cohabitation, and a child of cohabitation does just as bad or worse than a child of divorce.
See, this is something you never hear about.
You don't hear about it at all. And there's a fairly simple answer to cohabitation, believe it or not. Right now, if a woman gets pregnant, she's automatically eligible for food stamps, Medicaid, and so on, about $25,000 worth of goodies. But she's living with a man who's providing for her in the same way that a married man is. She shouldn't get any benefits if she's cohabiting and has a child. The rules should be changed.
Because what you're saying is the incentive is to actually have the child outside of marriage, financially
well, the
anyway.
Incentive, it's subsidized.
Right.
I'm saying let's end the subsidy. Let's say, okay, you have a child and you're not married. Are you living with a man? And what's your residential address? You check it out. Because you want to support the woman who has to bring a child up alone. That's appropriate. But what now about, let's say that the woman is living with a man and they have a child and the child is 3 years old. What should the rules be there? Well, right now, if she marries the man, she loses the $25,000 a year.
Right.
So few are getting married for that reason.
Right.
But we could change the rules and say, okay, if you already have the child and you're getting $25,000 a year, we're going to continue that, but we're going to taper it off over some period of time.
But that's if you get married.
If you get married.
If you get married.
We want to encourage you to marry. We're going to give you your same benefits for 3 years and then taper them off.
So what you're saying is that marriage has a societal benefit, which is something that people don't want to talk about. They look at marriage as just being between 2 adults. Whenever one adult wants to leave, that adult's happiness is paramount to every other decision. That adult who says, I want to look out for myself, I want to be happy, doesn't make a difference what it does to my kids. We're going to pretend that they don't exist. But you're telling me just the opposite, that staying together as the family is better for the kids, for the society, for everything.
We had more marriages in 1970 than we did in 2015.
Yeah, it's...
2.2 million marriages compared to 2.1.
Yeah.
And yet the population has grown so much that it should be 1.3 million more marriages than we have. Yeah. And on the other side of the coin, so few people are getting married that the number of never married Americans has grown almost 5-fold since 1970. Wow. You haven't heard that?
No, you haven't heard that.
From about 8 million to about 40 million. I don't have I can give you the precise numbers here.
No, I've got it.
I'm just trying to say that.
Yeah.
So we used to have in this country 70% of households were by married couples.
Mm-hmm.
Today it's 48%. And these numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
And they can be reversed.